Hello and happy New Year, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. Actually, this is the first show we're doing of the year, and I couldn't be more happy because, of course, C Money is back in the saddle, in his
Yeah, man.
co-host chair, as it was. And folks, if you didn't know this, breaking news about C Money, he has declared that in 2025, he's going to be trying more mustard and olives than ever
Never.
before. Yes.
Never. 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 No, sir. No.
Hey,
No,
brother,
I
how's
did enough.
everything, man? How are you feeling?
Good, man. Good, man. Well, happy New Year, everybody. Feeling great, man. Feeling great. Excited for this new year. It was 2024 was awesome, and looking to just have an even better 2025, man. Xbox has so much. Like I I'm really looking forward to this year in gaming. It's gonna be crazy. I thought last year was great, but
Oh, dude, it's
man, this year looks sick,
guys like me and
insane.
you who you have your own business. I'm retired. You would think, hey, these guys can make time for anything. That I don't know where I'm gonna find the time to play games, but literally the smorgasbord of games coming for Xbox. Now, folks, listen, as you can see, the title of the show changed, but not all of the topics have changed. C and I are going to hit 3 topics today, but we got a couple that we got to get into. The one that's breaking that comes the way of Collider is Microsoft was approached by the producers of the animated show on Amazon called Secret Level. And they were pitched a specific idea and they said, nah, just like that. Nah. Now, the chat's great. You guys and gals been going back and forth. Some people think it's a mistake. Some people say that, oh, yeah, the show is mid. I got some thought and theories. So that's going to be one of the topics. The other topic that I really want to sink my teeth in is the consistent lying that's going on from Game Science, which of course are the developers of Black Myth Wukong. There's been some controversy with the producer saying that it's a Series S problem, and that's a lie. We got some updated information from Jez Corden of Windows Central, who actually responded to Clute, who's in the chat, Abdel114, who actually is one of the ones that started the rah-rah-rahing with this, and I want to get into it. Third topic of the show, folks, and this will be on the back end, is the quote-unquote rumored event happening in January, the third week more specifically. That is the Xbox Developers Direct. Now, do I know if that's actually happening? Well, I haven't talked to anyone just yet, but it's starting to make the rounds. We're all hearing it's third weekend. So I would imagine that next week we might get some advertising letting us all know that that is happening. What's happening is where C Money and I are going to have the big conversation, because I think there's a lot that could happen, as a matter of fact. And again, we'll get into it momentarily, but see, let's open up with the secret level conversation. Okay. Now, again, this has been making the rounds. I sent it over to you in DM. I think that this is worthy of a conversation. This is just me. So look, I just did a check, right? So you want to know how much Halo Infinite I have played since 2020? Well, I'm coming in on 23 days. Folks, do the math. That's a lot of multiplayer Halo. That's a lot of single player Halo. I love the brand. As a matter of fact, I literally just came from storage because I'm doing some things, and I got a chance to hold in the hands. I haven't held it in a while. Pause. The crystal green Combat Evolved Xbox OG launch console. I have it. I got it with the matching controller, and it's mint, and it still works. I'm a Halo nut, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm also a big fan of Doom. Now, of course, I'm old, so I go all the way back to when Doom looked like nothing but a mess on the screen, but it was fun. And now, of course, Doom is, well, since 2016, it has exploded on the scene as one of the not only best first-person shooters, It just so happens to be an IP that I don't know, Microsoft freaking owns. So, why do I feel vexed? Now, again, I don't like starting the show or the year on negativity, but folks, I'm sorry. I got to give smoke where smoke is due. So, what am I talking about? Well, okay. Here is some of the information that comes out. Now, this was originally posted by Collider, and Collider did a story on more specifically Secret Level. Now, Secret Level is a multifaceted uh, animated series on Amazon. Some people love it. I'm one of them. Some people dislike it. It's fine if you don't like it. If you're not in the same excited, realm as me, perfectly fine. See, money. I don't know how you feel about it, but we'll get your hot take in a second. And the producers approached Microsoft and pitched what I believe is not only a missed opportunity, it's something that we as fans have all dreamed of. Now, look, Elseworlds is something that DC or the DCEU currently runs, right? It's the same thing as the multiverse for Marvel. And the multiverse for Marvel has been explored and it's been done to great degree, especially if you're a fan of the show What If. Now, What If season 1, 2, and 3, maybe they weren't all bangers, but some of them are pretty dope. And when you start interacting with characters that are just not regular, your average characters, and there's something different to them, as a fan, you get excited, right? Like I just finished watching the episode with Storm. That's right, the X-Men Storm. She was wielding Thor's hammer. Like what? Yeah, man, that actually happened, and that episode was dope. Well, what was pitched to Microsoft by the producers of Secret Level was a Doom Guy and Halo crossover event. Now, it was going to be just one episode. It was going to be Doom meeting Halo. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm getting goosebumps like a big old nerd because that sounds amazing. Now, I don't know what the pitch was. I wasn't a fly in the on the wall. I wasn't in the room, but I can tell you that if you watched any or all of Secret Level, it could have been done to great degree. So why do I even want to have this conversation? Because in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, Microsoft, more specifically Xbox, 343 Studios or Industries or whatever you want to call them, Halo Studios, in the last decade have done a horrendous job keeping Halo as Microsoft's and Xbox's Mario or Kratos for PlayStation, respectively. Yes, Halo 4, very good. Halo 5, very terrible. Halo Infinite, phenomenal. Let's get your hot take on them saying no to this, C Money.
So I think I have to caveat something before I go too deep into it. I really dislike what if scenarios. So like the show What If does nothing for me. I don't like, for me, things like that are a waste of time because I like to watch things that have no real impact or just because. I really am not a fan of. So I think there's like two versions of this. So for one, like the idea of like a Doom and Halo, like if Microsoft made something like that, if Microsoft said, I'm going to make a Doom and Halo game, and we're going to create like this crossover, like I'll be like, all right, dope. Like, what are they going to do? I think it's hard because like, even now, like to be honest with you, I haven't watched Secret Level. I haven't really been that intrigued by it. As much as it's like, oh, it's about gaming, so we should. But I mean, theoretically, look at like Fallout, right? everybody was going wild for Fallout. That went crazy. Halo show I love, and there's a good amount of people who like that. A lot of people didn't, but it made some noise. Like the secret level thing, I mean, it's not really moving the needle, right? Like nobody's going crazy about any of the episodes of Secret Level in a major way where it's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. It's more like a fan, a love letter to fans, like, hey, look at this game or look at this. And Microsoft, I mean, they didn't shut down, the Secret Level people. They gave them, Outer Worlds 2.
Yes.
So it's not like they said no in that way. But I do feel like that would have been really risky to let like a third party introduce an idea of Halo and Doom if you have no intention of ever crossing that over in, in your world, right? In gaming world, right? Like if they are not looking to cross those streams, it might put on like this false, I don't know, idea that that's a possibility, right? And then what Microsoft is going to deal with, and what the Halo Studios is going to deal with nonstop, and probably even id Software is going to deal with is, why don't you guys make this game? Why don't you guys make this game? And it's like, that's cool in theory, but they're two different types of games, right? Like everything's different in those games, the way they feel, the lore, everything about them is very, very different. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like, for me personally, I don't know if it's that crazy of a situation. Like I understand your point of the idea of like, relevancy, right? Like if something dope is happening, you should be a part of it. And I get the idea of that. I don't know if like, was there any other game that was, done in the Secret Level that was a crossover between two different games?
Well, no, but I mean, but here's the thing. Look, my thing isn't just, see, from the ground level, you're making great points. Maybe it wasn't something that they wanted to address, crossing two things over. And you're absolutely correct in saying so. Here's the problem, though, and I have the actual story here, so I want to read some quotes from the directors. The problem here is Halo has been in a tailspin for years. 343's leadership nearly sunk, and some people might even push back on me and say that the franchise is already sank. I would disagree. I think that Halo is in the best position it's been in years for multiplayer. Where I have massive smoke for them is the fact that we did not get any continuation whatsoever in DLC or add-ons, even though they were supposed to be planned, and they were planned. And some of them were even done for the single player. We are now in 2025. I know we're only 2 days in, but again, we're probably not going to see anything Halo related new at least until 2026. And I'm hoping that that could be a launch title for the next console, because it would be poetic, because it'd be the 25th anniversary of not only Xbox, but Master Chief. So again, this is one of those stories that kind of writes themselves. I'm just hoping that Microsoft and Xbox more specifically doesn't do what they're known to do. See money, and that's step on rakes, knock their own front two teeth out, because they've done it more than not. Listen, I love the brand, and I'm not hating on any of the bigs, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. But when I read stuff like this, I get vexed, because I'm a diehard Halo fan who's been starving for new content. Yes, I love multiplayer, and I love the fact that I can go out and drop $45 every time there's a new operation to get all the skins that I want to buy, and I would be considered a whale because I have no problem spending the money. I love, having a multitude of different armor sets. Armor cores, I have hundreds of them. It's great. And I can change it anywhere I want. It's amazing. And they're all my own personal designs, which I love. Right now, you can cross everything with all of the updates. But again, it's one of those things. Has there ever been a major crossover with IP for Xbox? No. But does that mean that there shouldn't be? Right? Like that it shouldn't be explored. So look, I'm going to hand you back the mic, but I want to read some of the so again. This is from the Collider interview, and I actually pulled a story from Forbes. It was written by Paul Tassi. Now, again, I don't like all Paul's work, and he's kind of turned me off a bit in 2024. But I'm still going to give him credit because he did write this. This is actually a good write up. Now, according to the article, the art director, Dave Wilson, right? He says this. I get a little chaffed when I read online. Let me make sure this is actually David that's actually saying this. Hold on. Let me just because again, I pulled a story, I lost it, and I want to just make sure I'm getting that. So all right, so I'll say it like this. They interviewed both of the directors. This is one of them. I get a little chafed when I read online and they're like, hold on. These a-holes took Spelunky when they could have taken Halo or something like that. And I'm like, man, you think we didn't talk to Halo or something? And of course, this is another quote from the director, Dave Wilson. Goes on to say the creative director at ID Software is a good friend of ours. And so are the folks at Microsoft. So we made a big plea because one of the things both Tim and I love to do is do something that isn't currently available in the games, like crossovers. We wanted to make a Master Chief Doom Slayer crossover episode. And I spent an entire weekend crafting this impassioned letter of my childhood. And it's exactly what Tim said. They were like, nah.
So this is the thing. So I like you, I love Halo, right? And see, for me, I hear no other of the secret levels were crossovers. Everything got its own burn. Right. And then I'm hearing in his quote that you didn't think we talked to Halo. We know them, we know id, and we said we want to make a crossover. They didn't go and say we want to make a Halo level. We want to make a crossover level. No other game in the series in Secret Level was a crossover. Every game got its own chance to shine. But then you come to Microsoft and you say, hey, Halo's not good enough to be alone. We need Doom. Maybe. And for me, I say, you could go fuck yourselves. Like, that's my answer immediately. If you come to me and say, hey, I'm interested in making a Halo, but not alone. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would want that, right? We got to put Doom. We want to go and create, like, come on, man. That's for me, the quote pisses me off. Just the idea is fine that, oh, they want to do this. But the fact that he's saying that he didn't say we went to them and I said, I want to make a Halo map, which I'm sure Microsoft might have been like, well, I mean, there's plenty of stories we can tell, right? Sure, let's do a Halo thing. But what he said is we went to them with a plea to let us do Halo and Doom. Nah, fam. Come on. Yeah, how they going to go do something that Xbox themselves hasn't done, and they want to just go ahead and change it for no reason?
I mean, listen, again, I understand your point of view. It's never been done. All of the other episodes were episodes based on a singular character, a singular universe. I get that. But what was one of the first things that fans like me went out and did when ABK was announced? Everyone that is anyone took pictures of Master Chief and Doom Guy and put them together, whether they were shaking hands or they were looking at each other. I did that artwork because I was like, holy shit, they're gonna own the freaking the studio that made Doom, and they have Halo. wow, what a crossover that would be. So if they're, and again, it sounds like to me that these guys were coming at this from a fanboy perspective. And I think that because it's never been done before and you've never seen a Halo crossover with a Doom, there was a real opportunity. And when I say that, I mean, look, unfortunately, or depending on fortunately, if you are an anti-Halo fan, say for instance, you're not a fan of the brand, you don't care that a Halo is taking a dump, right? No big deal to you because you're like, I don't care about Halo. I cared about Halo when I was 12. Well, I'm 54 and I still care about Halo. And I think one of the
Halo's the
most
shit.
yeah, I mean it is. I mean, look, you behind you, you're Mr. Halo. Everything behind you is Halo for crying out loud. So you can't see my
100%.
shrine because unfortunately the apartment isn't set up, folks. I promise you, when I have a studio, it is going to be dope. But until then, well, you just got to see peacocks and Christmas trees. Sorry, that's just what it is. But keeping it laser focused, and again, this isn't going out of our way to dump on people. This is having a conversation because I saw it.
Yeah.
And as a Halo fan who has been starving for content, who has been waiting for them to, again, as much as I play multiplayer, and I to be fair, I've missed the last 3 operations because Call of Duty has become, my crack cocaine, if you will, and I can't stop playing Call of Duty. It's just so much fun. I love Halo, and I'm starving for content in regards to single player. They've given us every piece of content that they've given us has gotten better and better and better and better with multiplayer. I take nothing away from them. But one of the things, unfortunately, for Halo as a brand, as an IP, it has seen better days. And
I mean, it has over 25 million players.
It does. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Does. Yes.
Like, I mean, I feel like that's like, I get what you're saying, but I feel like that's a narrative that comes from outside of like the real, like, you love Halo, you put countless hours into Infinite, right? For it, like, you put 100, like, over, like, was it 200 days? Like, that's crazy. Or 23 days, I don't know, you said
almost 23 days. Yeah
23 days. That's stupid amount of time, right? Like, that's crazy. So it's like I understand what you're saying, but like what other games do you have that type of, you loved Astrobot. Do you have 23 days in that?
No, I have 50 hours though.
Okay. But so Astrobot is not in a bad shape, right? Because it's you liked it. You only put 50 hours in it though, right? 23 days is not a game that's in bad. Like, most of us have a lot of hours in Halo who love Halo because this Halo was the best Halo that was ever made. And it was
100%.
made.
Yeah.
It was made by the company that was shamed and thrown to shit, when in reality they fucking nailed it. They nailed Halo, but that team got destroyed because they didn't have a fucking roadmap ready to go. I'm sorry for cursing. A roadmap for something that they've never done before, which is live service. They weren't that quick, and Joseph Staten was trying to keep things on a manageable side. So it's like, it is a little frustrating for me because I do love Halo, and this Halo was amazing, and it's done better than every single IP that that PlayStation has. Like, no one's put as much time into any of those games as they've done Halo. Like, come on, like, Halo is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like as much as like this Helldivers 2 is a thing that is out there, that has no identity with PlayStation. There's zero identity with PlayStation. That's a PC game, and it's part of a franchise that did nothing the first time out the gate, and now it went into this multiplayer thing that popped off right now. But like, nothing's on this level. So it's, maybe I'm just defensive. I love Halo. I don't listen, it's wild for me to think that there's fine. Like, it's not in bad shape. It's in phenomenal shape. It's been out for 4 years, you know what I'm saying? Or 3, going into its 4th year. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time there was a live service Halo. And I think obviously they made big changes because of the multiplayer part of it. How is this going to affect single player down the line? I hope it doesn't. I hope that they can still do more and do better. I don't want this to be like, hey, the single player team was part of the 343 joint, and then now everything is shifted to the multiplayer side of it, and they're gonna forget it. I don't know. Obviously, it's clear they're doing this reboot. I don't know how far they're going with that. I have a lot of thoughts and concerns for me for what's gonna happen with Halo, because I just don't know. I love Halo, and I don't want them to move away because of the nature of these live service games.
I say this: the biggest problem with Halo is its fans. It's very much similar to Star Wars. Like like me, I agree with you. I think Halo Infinite is by far the best in the series. For me, it was always 3, and as great as 3, and I put hundreds of hours, if not 1,000 hours, into Halo 3, and it was just magnificent. Infinite has leaps and bounds did better, but just reeling it in real quick, right? And again, I don't want to spend another too long on this because we do have 2 other topics I want to get into.
Yeah, man.
I just think personally, it's a missed opportunity to introduce your brand to a different type of audience that you may or may not had before. The animation audience is not all gamers, right? Not everyone that watches Secret Level or Dragon Ball or any of the pick your favorite anime are gamers, but they could be. And seeing 2 bombastic hero characters like Halo, I mean, it's a dream come true for anyone who thought about exactly what I said before. When Bethesda was announced that they were a confirmed purchase, the first thing I did was put Halo merge in the same picture with Doom Guy, and it was like, could you imagine if they did that?
But that's if Microsoft does it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Microsoft does it, I think that's great. But I think having this, like introducing a Doom and Halo crossover to an audience is not going to make them say, oh, I want to go play Doom or I want to play Halo. It's going to make them say, oh, wow, so there's something with these 2 people. And then they're going to go look for the games, and there's no such game, right? And they're very different games.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
If it was focused, if it was like, hey, here's a Doom episode and here's a Halo episode, that's cool. I just feel like Microsoft needs to be the one, if they're going to do something with Halo and Doom, which right now, Halo, multiplayer is rocking. They made it a phenomenal single player game, but the next one is already in line, right? So they're not like, I think Microsoft is more worried about keeping Halo relevant as a brand itself, going into the next game, reintroducing the game, right? It's quite a bit into the series already, so clearly they want to do a remake of the first one, and maybe they're going to reboot some of it to not create a dead end for themselves. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's clear I just think Halo, as much as we will all find it fun to play with Halo, with Master Chief and Doom Guy. I mean, we could do that in Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? Squad up, go take over the world.
And again, it's one of those things. So again, I'm glad you brought that up. And again, I'll end it with this, but this is just some food for thought. And again, I see the chat is very, very split. Like, a lot of people are thinking like C, but a lot of people are thinking like me. So this is one of the instances where we're on opposites. Again, we're brothers, so we cannot disagree and still, hug it out, right? That's just how the relationship that me and C have. So I don't agree with you, C, and you don't agree with me, and that's awesome. I'm really glad about the discourse. But here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought it up, because it would have been a point of contention that I thought. And of course, if you want a rebuttal, I'll let you rebuttal before we move on to the next topic.
Sure.
Fortnite is a perfect example of how you can take characters, literally iconic, world-bending characters of every ilk, male, female, cartoon, you name it, you put them into this one space. And everyone is doing their own thing with that character because they love that character, whether it be Indiana Jones, whether it be Darth Vader, the Turtles, Goku, Doom Guy, Kratos, Master Chief, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, any of the characters you could possibly think of are somehow they work in this world, right? They are crossing over with these with in a shooter. Like, and again, just look at what for shits and giggles. And some people got really offended about this. Watch Kratos, Master Chief, or Doom Guy do the Carlton. And all I can do is freaking laugh because that is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. I mean, who would have thunk it that these three macho men would be doing the Carlton in front of me? But it
Bro, Master Chief does all the dances the best.
Yeah, he
every
does.
single dance. Whatever dance you put on him, he crushes it.
But
Master Chief is just that thing. I don't know what it is.
Point.
But the thing is that but no one is confusing that game for Halo or Doom or God of War, right? They're only looking at it as these characters are in Fortnite. So it's like a way to say, oh, look at Master Chief. He looks dope. I wonder where he's from. I don't think that would be the case if you do a Doom and Master Chief crossover. I think if you do that, you introduce the idea of the possibility of a Doom and Master Chief crossover, and without Microsoft making that, or if they had plans to, I feel like they would want to be the one to introduce that story, though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not wrong, but
just because they had an idea doesn't mean it was a good idea, right?
That's true.
Like
that is
like,
true. But
you got to remember, like if you could love something and shit the bed, you know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's true. It's listen.
So you just don't know. I mean, obviously, and any time you're letting an outside company, do something, even if you're like putting strict mandates on it, if you hinder it too much, then it's not ever going to be their actual thoughts or feelings that they wanted to do, right? And if you let them go willy-nilly, you don't know what kind of repercussion it could have on your IP on the back end. So it's like sometimes you got to look at it and be like, if they said no, maybe they just didn't think the pitch was good. They didn't say don't pitch me, right?
Oh,
they didn't say don't pitch me. They said give me a pitch. The thing is, the pitch didn't win. You know what I'm saying? It didn't win.
I listen again. I love the fact that we didn't agree on this. I love your take. Your take was solid. It makes a lot of sense. But I'll end it with this: if they really cared about Master Chief and the damage, I wouldn't have had to look at Master Chief's bare ass in one of those episodes. And
that was a good episode, man. I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad Chief is getting ass. I always wondered, like, what happens? Is this dude just boo ball for life? He can't do nothing with nobody? No, he gets it in. Good. Good for him. That's my homie.
Listen, he got
you don't want him.
Good for Master Cheeks as hashtag Master Cheeks and Big Man, Big Man. Most of that was a great episode. Good on you, Big Man. He agrees with you. But look, again,
that's it, man.
Great way to open up the show. I see. Again, I like keeping it light. I like keeping it fun. But this game science thing has kind of been bugging me for a bit. Look, I said this. I didn't buy Black Myth Wukong, not because I was mad that it wasn't on an Xbox. If it would have been a PlayStation only exclusive for the rest of history, I probably would have sought it out like on a Black Friday sale. I wouldn't have paid the full boat for it. Because my console of choice is Xbox. Everybody knows that. For crying out loud, I got 3 Xbox shows a week, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I don't hate PlayStation. I don't hate having a PlayStation 5. It's just it gets the least play because I'd rather play on my Xbox or my Switch, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's mine. But Clute Abdel 114 in the chat put out a pretty. I mean, it'd take me 10 minutes to read this. It is a thread. It is a monster thread. And I want to read just a piece of it because there has been a lot of controversy surrounding game science and more specifically PlayStation. Now, you said it earlier. We have it on confirmed fact that Microsoft literally said, we know that there was a deal made, but we're working with them. And when the game comes out, it's going to run great on it, whatever. And just the other day, well, one of the producers, was pushing back and literally blaming the Series S for this delay. Oh, it's the Series S. It's gummed up everything, and that has been a running narrative. Now, granted, I'm not a developer, see, and I don't know PCs like that. And yes, have people come out and said, yeah, it is a hindrance to some extent. Now, whether or not that's fact or lazy, I honestly don't know because I'm not a developer. But I know that they were able to get Hellblade 2 running at a lock 30 on Series S.
Dude,
I
every
know
game in history gets released on the Series S.
it
Every
does.
game.
But you
Every
know what?
single day,
But two
more and
more.
more games are released on the S. They're lying.
Yeah, they
It's
are
so
lying.
annoying,
They're
bro.
absolutely lying because all you have to do is look to 2024's, and I'm saying it like it was 100 years ago. It was just 2 days ago. But in 2024, two of the most talked about games at towards the end of the year, which was Stalker 2 and Indiana Jones, are both running great on the Series S. So if they can get those games to run great on the Series S, you're telling me that you couldn't get Black Myth Wukong, which by the way, still isn't running at peak performance on the PS5. Now, that's different for PC because you can have a monster rig and I'm sure that it's running great, but you're telling me that the Series S has gummed up everything, and I don't really I don't believe it. And so I'm going to read some of the well, I'm going to read the post from Clute. He says, "What I find interesting, see, is to see the ongoing Wukong delay for Xbox is still not seeing a clear-cut reason why this is the case. I find a newly translated statement by a supposed game science developer questionable for the following reasons. As we know, as we've seen reported by Microsoft, they were not made aware of any platform limitations. Game Science had issues with optimizing for the Series S. Why did they not report it? And why did they not anticipate it towards it, knowing the game already got a release date announced for Xbox at the Game Awards of 2023? Goes on to say, as Microsoft stated in a response to Forbes, as we have said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platform. We'd prefer not to comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we can confirm that the delay is not due to the Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us.
Come on,
Now,
man.
I mean, now recently, and I sent this over, so I think Jez Corden actually responded to this. So yeah, here it is. So Jez Corden, and again, this was just 16 hours ago, so it was yesterday. Jez says this, and I quote, all I know for certain is they told Xbox there's a deal in place. Xbox believes there is a deal in place. I'm reporting on what Xbox believed to be the case, at least back when I did my original report. They have so far declined to refute that. So basically, the recent interview with the game science developer who's blaming the Series S is more falsities. And I was telling you in the green room, I says, when I hear that, I'm not a vindictive person, folks. Listen, I'm just a consumer like you, right? A consumer that has a couple of podcasts a week, not that big of a deal, not much different than you. But when I hear this, I'm still waiting for Black Myth. I really want to buy it. But now, hearing that the delay could run all the way through 2025, I'm going to say this publicly right now, and I really don't think anybody from Game Science is listening to this small ass show. But I could tell you this: if that game somehow misses the 2025 campaign or comes out towards the end of the year when it's going to be crazy, they are not getting my money. I could tell you that right now. And they're not going to get my money for two reasons. One, I don't like being lied to as a customer. That's number one. And number two, I am not going to drop down 76.43 on your game during what could be one of the biggest falls we've ever had. And I'm going to be playing everything and anything out of Game Pass for the price of under $20 a month. So Game Science, I will either buy it used or I will get it on a sale, a flash sale for half price during Black Friday. See, what are your thoughts on the additional context from the supposed, developer within Game Science saying, "Hey, there's no deal And this is really a Series S problem. It continues to plague what we're trying to do with this game, and we can't get it right. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean they're lying. They're lying. Microsoft, listen, Game Science is nobody, right? They're a nobody studio. They made this one game, great. But they're a nobody studio. They're just one little studio, and if they can't come up with another Black Myth Wukong type game that's going to take them another 10 years to make, I don't think that they're long for this life with hype, right? I think they'll just be another game that came and that's it. So the fact that they are talking about this means nothing, right? The company that actually matters and that actually has stakes when they speak, and they have to make sure they don't say things out of turn because they can get in trouble and they can get sued and all this stuff Game Science can sue them and say, what do you mean? No, it is this problem and you're making us look bad, right? But they're not, and they don't ever actually talk about what Microsoft said, right? They just, every time you get a quote from Game Science, it's just their own little bubble of whatever they want to say. But Microsoft can't just go out there and put out a public statement that says, hey, yeah, we haven't heard any issues from there, and we could tell you that it's not the platform. They have a deal. We can't comment on the deal. It's right there. That's it. That is the official word, not the wannabe bootlegged, developer who's saying that, oh yeah, it's the Series S. Like, who are you, dude? Like, what role do you have in the company? Are you an engineer at the company? Is that what you do? What is his role there, and where is he coming up with this information? Because the official word is that there's a deal. That's what we know to be true. Microsoft as an entity is not going to just come out and say some random shit. Not to mention that people, like especially the ponies, is funny. They try to source Baldur's Gate 3, right? They try to use that as, oh, look, that had a problem with the Series S.
We know what happened.
That had zero problem. Well, it magically got handled, right? But it was actually not about the game itself being put on there. The only problem that Baldur's Gate 3 had was the multiplayer, the split screen multiplayer. That was the issue they had for the Series S, and Xbox made a one-time situation where they said, okay, you can release the game without putting the split screen on the Series S. I don't know if it's since been put in or what's happened with that.
You know what? Interestingly enough that you should say that, because I have a quote here. And I got this, and this is great. This comes from the Twitter account known as Xbox for Koreans. And this is what they go on to say, and it goes right into Baldur's Gate. So I'll give you back to Mike in a second, but let me just add this context to what you're talking about. It says, for games that have experienced memory issues on the Xbox Series X, Microsoft sends an engineering team to help, and he quotes Baldur's Gate 3. And here, it was reported by IGN that Microsoft's engineers are helping get Baldur's Gate 3 split screen working on Xbox Series S. And the quote here is, I wish I could tell you we can do magic and miracles. And they got it to work. As a matter of fact, some additional context, if you remember, that thanks to these engineers that Microsoft sent over to the small developer at Baldur's Gate to get it done, they did such an amazing job that they somehow figured out from the Series S version to make the X, PS5, and PC version with memory run better, using the Series S as the test case. How about that? So I think that if they really had these problems, Microsoft would have been more than willing to send over their engineers, and they didn't.
Dude, we were all hyped to see Black Myth Wukong come out when it was coming everywhere. We were all interested. I don't know if it was going to be like my game that I was going to stick with, but I was for damn sure interested graphically to see that game. And they shit the bed because they went ahead and they took a deal. This is just what happened, bro. If everybody was looking at this game, whether you were interested or not, it was a game that was being looked at. And Microsoft clearly, if they were having some type of real issue with this thing, would have done it. But why put a release date out there if you wouldn't be, if the game wasn't in a playable enough scenario for you to put it through. You know what I'm saying? Like it, how did you not have a game running? So you're either admitting that you guys suck as a team and do not know how to code, especially considering that the game is Steam Deck verified, right? Which means is literally made to run on this lower powered spec. And what you can't get it to run on the Series S that every single day developers that are way smaller than Game Science are able to release their games with no problem. Like, come on, man. Every day a game's released on the Series S. The graphics on Black Myth Wukong are fine, but let's not act like they're not even Hellblade level. Like, they're good, but like let's relax, right? Like, you can scale the shit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go ahead and drop the res, drop the frame rate, whatever you need to do. And we found out that it's not even doing 60. It's not even doing real 60 on PlayStation, right? It's being they have some weird shit that they're doubling the frame and doing something that's Digital Found. I forget the exact verbiage, but Digital Foundry went into it. So it's like, at what point do we stop having these people come out here saying this nonsense when we already have the truth from the company who is this game is supposed to be released on? We already know that Microsoft, as soon as they found out about Baldur's Gate 3, they reacted immediately.
Indeed, yeah.
It's been how long since Black Myth Wukong came out? And the only statement we got from Xbox was not, oh, we'll send somebody out to help them. It was, yeah, we could tell you guys right now, it has nothing to do with our platform. This is a deal. We can't comment on the deal. That's it. That's the official word we got from Xbox and Microsoft. Like, come on, man. Like, let's stop, and let's stop with the nonsense. It's just, it's sad. And, you know, like you said, I mean, first of all, on point, we've been saying it since the moment that they chose to not release it, that we weren't going to support the game. And that's just what it is. So I'm not buying that game.
I agree. You know, and that's, look, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, folks. I'm saying what I'm doing, and I'm in the same camp as C Money. I am not buying the game. If it's in Game Pass, yeah, I'll play it. But I'm not giving Game Science a dime. Like, I'm going to vote with my wallet here, and I'm not. And again, this is not me throwing a tantrum. I have 1,000 games to play. It's not that serious. What I dislike is at every turn, especially just recently, they're coming out again and blaming the Series S when that has been the running narrative. And it just so happens that, I don't know, two of the best looking games released this year, as per Digital Foundry, were 1 and 2 respectively. That's Indiana Jones and Hellblade 2, both of which are running superbly
Series S
on the Series S, the little potato, right? The little one that could. So again, they made a deal with Sony. I saw a lot, and why I wanted to talk about it is because I saw a lot of the PlayStation community, and there's some big time names in there too.
Oh, it's making the rounds again.
It is making the rounds again. And everyone, of course, is blaming the Series S as being the little brother of the crutch. And that's not in fact the case at all. They made a deal, they took the bag, and now we're not getting it until whenever. And now, thanks to this delay, whenever it's going to come out, I'm not going to support it. I'm not giving them their money. And I think what's going to wind up happening is it's probably not going to sell well on Xbox because you probably pissed off a lot of people. Again, I understand business, but at least be forthcoming with it. Say, yeah, PlayStation, we inked a deal with them. We're a small team. We need the money. So, they're getting the game first. They have a year exclusive, whatever. And maybe Sony's not letting them talk, but the consistent, changing of stories is why I kind of wanted to bring it up. And again, it was a really big story over the weekend. And obviously, here we are. We were off yesterday because of the new year. I wanted to get into it and see. I'm glad that you are with me in the same camp, that you have decided that you're not going to buy the game. I'm not. If they're not going to support me as a customer or a fan, well, then I'm not going to support them. And that's how it should be. Vote with your wallets, ladies and gentlemen. But
I mean, when we have the PC, so it's not like I couldn't have bought it and played it on PC, the best way that they have it.
indeed,
Just
yeah.
don't. It's just like I can't support a studio like that who's gonna come out here and be full of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just
Yep.
that ain't
and,
it.
and you're not wrong for it. You're not wrong for it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, 2 stories in. We got one big one. Again, it's a rumor. It's a little bit more than a rumor, but we'll keep it as a rumor for now. That, of course, is the conversation we're going to have regarding the, again, rumored developer direct that should be happening third weekend. That's what we're all hearing. That's what people are reporting on. And we're going to get into that in a second, but I got to catch up on Super Chats. My God, there's been so many of them. I can't thank you enough. There are 723 people here. Holy matrimony. What a way to kick off 2025. I mean, really, to have this many people here on a show that I really, really enjoy doing. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation enough to hit the like button. If you're finding the channel for the first time, for the love of the gaming gods, please consider subscribing. Mrs. Boom and I are on the hunt for 16K, and we just hit the halfway mark, meaning we're at 15.5. We need 500 additional subs. I'm hoping we can do that in the first quarter of 2025, and it would be pretty dope. And of course, you can help us get there by hitting the sub button, hitting the bell icon, and of course, sharing this on the socials. But listen, let me catch up on Super Chats, and my God, there's been a lot of them. Let's see. Jacob Novick, who's been a channel member for 10 months, says this: I have a few things to share. Why say nah to a Doom and Halo crossover episode? The stupidest thing they have said. This is what we need. It's wanted. And I mean, listen, not everybody agrees, but I agree with you. I think it would have been great for the brands. I think it would have been great for an Elseworld story that we've never seen before. And it could have potentially opened the door for a game. Again, maybe they do make that game. I don't know, but unfortunately, we'll never know. Hargi Chani, my man, your dude over there,
Hargi.
one of the realest guys out there. He doesn't care. He wears his Xbox Heart of Emotion on his sleeve. He's been a channel member for 28 months. So, brother, thank you so much for the generosity. He says, I don't mind mixing the Halo and Doom universes for multiplayer, but for a story, he's not feeling it. And he obviously agrees with you. I'm feeling the shit out of it because, well, it's Halo, it's Doom, it's 2 monstrosity characters. Could you imagine like Master Chief shooting demons and like, the Doom guy shooting the Flood? I think that would be dope, but I'm a big nerd, so sorry. Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says 2025 C Mustard podcast. C rates different mustards.
No thanks. No thanks.
You line them up.
I can do it for you right now. F everything. F across the board.
You know what it would have been really good to see him do is line up maybe 10 different mustards, and his dipping would be an olive for each one. And each.
No, I did that. No, you give me PTSD and shit. I'm good.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
I keep the bottle of olives here just as a memory. Hashtag never forget.
Never forget those. So listen, we have what do you call it? Ray Chill in the chat. Drops very generous, or Richie has a very generous drops a very generous $2 super chat. So Richie, it says Halo and Infinite Nikki are both dress up games.
I mean, you do dress up your character. So is Call of Duty.
I mean,
there's a lot.
Listen, you dress up all your characters. I mean, I'm running around as you see. I'm running around as the guy that looks like from Killzone, except he's gold and burgundy. And my other favorite operator skin right there is in front of you. She's a vampire. She is dope. I love her. Will Broke Boy Lewis. Yeah, we hung out last night. Me, him, and it's Timmy. We played multiplayer last night for a little bit. He says this after dropping a very generous.
You skipped 2. You skipped 2 of them.
Did I? Oh, I don't see them on my end. If you see them,
So you have J Mac with the 5 sub player says, shout out to Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick, C Money, Happy New Year to both families. Hashtag Graybeards in the building. XWO is real. Hashtag believe it. Facts. And then Cammy with that $2 super chat says episode 15 was a PlayStation crossover episode.
Oh, okay. So I haven't got to the whole thing. I've watched more than half of it. I didn't know that. So that's pretty dope. See, well, there you go. Thank you, Cammy, for the generosity. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the information. Yeah, I don't see it on my end. But Will Broke Boy Lewis, thanks for the save. C, appreciate it. Will Broke Boy Lewis says, fun playing Call of Duty last night, boom. And it's Timmy stayed on and talked with me and my brother for a little while. I also started playing Towerborn today. I can't wait to play Towerborn. I'm waiting for that to get drop on the Xbox. I'm definitely gonna play that. JD Gamer drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says the whole thing is real simple. Game Science is a new dev, and they took the bag, and they're inexperienced. Game Science literally said we're not good at optimizations. That's the real. The rest of it is just pony nonsense. And I've seen a lot of like really like not surprising but pretty bad PlayStation takes, and that's because they like unnecessary drama and they enjoy. And again, this hashtag all they do is lie, and that's the truth. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional $5 super chat and says, a lot of people focus on the Series S for BMW. They completely ignore the part that the devs saying that they don't have the optimization experience to do it. And again, if they would have asked for help, great point, Will. The Microsoft would have sent help over to get it done, just like they did with Baldur's Gate, and they didn't. So, JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat and says the Series S is like a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together properly to get all of the power out of it, but it's not impossible, a la Hellblade. And that's a great point. That's a fantastic point. Dan Lazaro drops a very generous $5 super chat, and Dan says, there are some political issues going on with that country and ours that most gamers aren't aware of, and I'm sure don't care, but it's very serious. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that. There are some serious, like really deep political things. I don't necessarily think that's the reason. I just think that they are an inexperienced dev and they did take the bag. That's just my hot take. Showtime Reezy drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, isn't Microsoft a software company for PCs? Are Series X and S consoles more PC-like? Aren't dev kits pre-built PCs and they can't figure it out? Hashtag lies in all caps. Indeed, I think it is a lie. We also have here Dan Lazaro drops an additional $2 super chat, and Dan goes on to say, I wouldn't trust putting that game on my box, and well, they're not getting my money for sure, and they're not getting C's money as well. Be nice drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Stalker 2 is on the Series S. Devs going through a war. I mean, I think that Be Nice literally just hit a grand slam. Yeah, it's a walk off because that is the best statement of the day. They figured it out after being displaced after a war, and you can't. And you're telling me Game Science can't figure it out? Yeah, it's lies. Showtime Reezy drops an additional $2 super chat and says Xboxes are literally made to be PC and dev friendly. Indeed, they are. Great point, Showtime. Thank you for the additional generosity. Lastly, Fantas Archer. Hey, brother, nice to see you here. Happy New Year to you and the fam. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, considering with all of the supposed issues the Series S have, yet to hear Jason Ronald come up with a video citing a flopflation term. Am I wrong? I mean, he's not wrong. And there's no flopflation coming out of J-Ron. So yeah, pretty ridiculous. But see, money, let's get into some positivity here. Look, we already know what's happening for Xbox in 2025. And I've said this before, and maybe I'm going to be a little slanderous here, and I don't care. PlayStation gamers, if you're listening, if you're here, you are welcome. But I'm gonna make a statement that's incredibly true. Do not look to PlayStation for your games this year because you're going to be disappointed. Yes, Ghost of Yotai is coming, and it's going to be dope, and I cannot wait to get into it. yes, Death Stranding 2 is supposed to be released, and hopefully that it is, but that's no longer a multiplat. That is, I mean, no longer an exclusive. It's a multiplat. That's about all you're getting from PlayStation. The biggest games coming out in 2025 for your PlayStation 5 are Xbox owned IP, and that's incredible.
Facts.
That I mean, again, just look at it. Call of Duty, you bought it the most. You literally are paying for the next Call of Duty game. Thank you, PlayStation gamers. Doom Eternal, you're gonna buy, right? It's gonna be great. I'm sure the
Doom
Oblivion
the Dark
remake.
Ages.
Yeah, yeah, Doom the Dark Ages. Yes, I said Doom Eternal. Doom the Dark Ages is going to be on your console. You're going to buy it up. You're going to lap it up. It's going to be great. It's going to be an incredible game. Graphically, it's going to be amazing. You're buying that game. You're also probably going to buy the Oblivion remake because I believe that's going to be everywhere because that was everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if they released that on every console. Thank you again. Keep paying for every. And you got to remember this, folks. And this is not being slanderous. Every game a PlayStation gamer purchases from Xbox to play on their console, they are literally funding the next acquisition, which could be Take Two. Thank you, PlayStation gamers. Hats off to you. Hopefully, you had a great
Absolutely.
2025. There you go. So, look, I know we're just being silly now. At this point, let's get real. The Xbox Developers Direct is supposedly, see money, happening in third weekend of 2025. That is the opening salvo for what was one hell of a 2024. And Xbox closed it out with two monstrosity exclusives. Whether you played them, whether you like them, whether they're too hard for you, like Stalker 2, too difficult for me. It is a PC ass PC game. It's great. It's just not for Boom, and that's perfectly fine. Which for a lot of people, people are enjoying it. And again, we did support the devs. If you're wondering, oh, did you support the devs? Mrs. Boom and I gave away 15 copies that we purchased at full boat. So yes, we did support the dev in a big way, but the game is just not
Super
for me.
awesome.
I mean, listen, we said we were going to do it, and we were trying to help. We're a mom and pop organization trying to help out a mom and pop type of organization, and we didn't even ask for them help. I don't even think they know. We've never reached out to them to let them know we were doing it because we didn't need to. We're just trying to help a small dev out. It's fine. But see, coming off of an incredible 2024 where you had Indiana Jones in December, you had Stalker 2, you had Hellblade, you had a ton, a flight simulator, you had all the RTS games, you had an incredible year for Game Pass and third party, second party indies. We're rolling into 2025 and we already know that the roadmap for this year is the most first party Xbox has ever put out that wasn't a launch year. Like they literally
Facts.
have so many first party games that I don't even know when I'm going to have time to play them. More importantly, a good portion of those games are going to be released on consoles other than Xbox, PlayStation, potentially Switch, and of course PC. And they're going to be making money hand over fist. Not that that means anything to me because I'm not getting any money out of it, but what that ultimately does is every time PlayStation gamers and PC gamers and Switch gamers buy something that's owned by Microsoft, it's more things that are going to be funded and put into Xbox Game Pass, and that's where we win, right? We win as
Facts.
gamers, but more importantly, we win as consumers because they keep. And again, we're not talking about it. I'm waiting on some confirmation. Apparently, January is going to be a monster month for Xbox Game Pass. It's supposed to have incredible amounts of titles. I can't wait to get the full list. I'm waiting on that right now. See money. Let's talk this Xbox Developers Direct that has been a standard the last couple of years. And look, I mean, again, I don't know for sure, but the one thing I will say is Compulsion Games has been putting out a lot of gameplay of
They
South of
have.
Midnight, and every time you see it, it looks better and better and better. Could that be a stealth drop? Could that be announced there? Hey, folks, go play it. I mean, it's possible, but what are we going to see there? Well, we've already seen Avowed, right? we've already seen South of Midnight. What else could be there? Well, one of the rumors that were floating around is that we were going to get a monster-sized gameplay a snippet of Doom: The Dark Ages. Comes out. That's a rumored to be out in potentially May or June. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that would be pretty dope. The excitement for Xbox this year is already at a fever's pitch, and we're only into the second day of the year. See, money. I think we're going to be eating good in the neighborhood. Let's get your thoughts and your theories of what could be happening third week into January with the Xbox Developer Direct 2025.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I'm super pumped for this year. And I mean, I think the most exciting part of that statement for me is that it's probably going to be the same thing I say every year going forward, because there's no slowing down
Yes.
what has started, right? Like this is go time. We're no longer, I know there was a past time where we were waiting, right? Like the year Starfield came out, we thought that that was going to be a year that there'll be a bunch of games, and they had a great year that year, but you know, it was really just Starfield as the big hitter, right?
Yep.
And then, you know, this past year was a phenomenal year, but it was more in line with the traditional, you know, back half loaded, front half not loaded, right? As far as first party is concerned. We had an amazing I love 2024. Hellblade 2, one of my favorite games ever. Indiana Jones had managed to beat that and become my game of the year, which is wild. And there was just so many great games released this year that were not even just part of the normal types of games that we would play. Like Age of Mythology was phenomenal. Our History Untold was phenomenal. I mean, there's so many games that released that were so good. But again, that all, aside from Hellblade, that all took place on the back half of the year. And now this year and going forward, you can see that now is the time,
Yeah.
right? Now is the time where the cadence is what we have expected it to be after all these purchases and after all these studios that are part of Xbox. And you know, they're literally not they're literally not slowing down. Like we had December was indie. Looks like, you know, February we know for sure Avowed is coming out. We have, you know, rumors that I know you said possibly you know, you never know if they shadow drop like a South of Midnight, but South of Midnight is rumored for like that April time frame.
April release,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then Doom Dark Ages can be like May, June, right? So like we're already seeing an idea of a 2-month cadence at this point, you know, going out from you know, the December, right, to February to April to June, right? Like you're at a 2-month cadence, and we still have the back half of the month, I mean of the year, with your Fable, what was the other one? Outer Worlds 2, you have Call of Duty. Like there's just like next year is just yeah, I mean just next year is just stacked. It's just stacked beyond belief. So I'm very, very, very excited for this year coming up. It looks amazing. So the showcase, though, and I call it a showcase now because as much as it's a direct, for us, it's such a big deal. Like they're showing you such high quality games at these things now that it's, you know, they're calling them a direct, but there are January showcase, right? And you know, like you said, you know, going into it, you know, if you go before November, I would have thought that showcase was going to have, you know, South of Midnight, was going to have Avowed, right? But they have done something that they never have done before, which is almost like preemptively they gave us those deep dives, right? We already got the Avowed deep dive. We got the South of Midnight deep dive, right? And it's like, well, I don't see how it would make sense to give us a deep dive in November and then come back in January to do the same thing, right? Obviously,
That's a phenomenal point, and that's exactly why I don't think it's going to be there.
yeah, like I can't see it. Will they just give us like an announcement of release dates if they wanted to? Sure. Do they need to do it at a direct? No, they can give us an announcement of a release date at any time. But I feel like this opens it up, right? Now, one of the games that, and it's funny because we didn't know about this come December, right? Before December, we didn't know. So, but we did know about the fact that South of Midnight and Naval was already, given his deep dive. So, and on point, we speculated the idea of, okay, well, then that means they're not going to be there. So that means they must have something new, something exciting. Well, I mean, we know they do, right? Outer Worlds 2 is going to come out next year. The question, though, is it a latter half of the year game? And if it is, are you going to do a deep dive in January for it?
I say no. I think that bookend, because as you think about it, Avowed is, again, we know Avowed is February. That's a monster-sized RPG, right?
Facts.
That's a big one. It really would be, I hate to use the word hindrance, if it would come out within the next, a 6 month, maybe 4 months would be a hindrance, I think. Like what I would do, and what do I know? I'm just a knucklehead podcaster, but it makes sense that you take Avowed, it comes out and we already know what's coming out. It's going to be out in February. You bookend the year with that, but then again, you start to run into, and when does Fable come out? Now, remember, December was, of course, Indiana Jones. Hargeet still to this day hates the fact that it came out, and he's not wrong. Like and I'm not saying this for console war rhetoric. I'm saying it for like honesty of someone to put over 50 hours into Indiana Jones. If that game would have been at the Game Awards and would have been it would have showed up in almost every category the same way Astrobot would have. And it would have taken Astrobot's lunch because it's honestly a better game in every way, shape, or form. Graphically, story, the design, the levels, everything about Indiana Jones, it would have wiped the floor with pretty much everything that was getting awards. Troy Baker would have won the Voice Award. There's no doubt about it. I don't know so much about the motion capture because obviously that's a different category. But listen, it would have won almost all the awards. It was whatever category it was in, it would have won. And now we get into an issue, and I know we the running joke for many years, and he just stepped away for a hot second, so he'll be back here momentarily. Has been Xbox has no games, right? Like, and listen, to be fair, there was some righteous criticism with that. That they only had a handful of studios. They made some big changes. Now we're at a point where Xbox has too many games, and this year is a perfect example of that. I mean, again, there is a lot of rumors of what is coming out. Now, I did a video where I did really well actually. If you look at what I talked about, and again, this is speculation, folks. Some of which are confirmed, some of which are we don't know. But I had 9 games that could possibly release in 2025 for Xbox: Avowed, Clockwork Revolution, Doom: The Dark Ages, Fable, Outer Worlds 2, Gears of War E-Day, Oblivion Remake, Call of Duty 2025, and South of Midnight. Now, most of these are already confirmed. South of Midnight, Fable, Outer Worlds 2, Call of Duty, Doom: The Dark Ages, and Avowed. There are 3 that are likely not to release this year. E-Day, Gears of War E-Day being one of them, but you never know. See, I mean, listen.
Did you have Outer Worlds 2? Did you have Outer Worlds 2 on that list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other one is that I'm thinking is going to drop this year, based off of the holiday card that they posted on Twitter, is Everwild. Everwild looks like it's going to come this year.
It could. It very well could be. I mean, I mean, again, it may not release as a full release. Maybe it released as, a game that's, you get into it and you play it, and then they have like a game preview. I mean, it's certainly possible.
Depends on what type of game it is. If it's going to be like a Sea of Thieves type game, then yeah, I could. If it's like an open,
Is it a
like
single
an
player game?
online
Is it a
type of game,
multiplayer game?
I don't know if it's a single player game. It depends
Yeah.
on what they end up doing. But the fact that they brought it up and basically said till 2025, that's I don't think you bring it up if it's not ready. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
You already did
That's
the
the beauty
reset.
of Xbox right now, though. See, they don't have to rush for anything. See,
Exactly.
they literally have 30 plus studios, and they may even have some that they haven't announced that they have yet, right? Like there could have
Yep.
been deals made, and they're just waiting for this FTC stuff and new powers that be to take over. They could already own other studios that just haven't reported or working with or about to announce that they're going to be adding. When you have 30 studios, you don't have to rush a game out when it's not right. And that's the beauty of what's going on with Xbox right now and the quote unquote they have too many games, see.
Yep. They do. I mean, they have so many. And at what point do you not want to, you know, like I know on Game Pass is not quite the same because they're not looking for the sales, but you still want things to have a little time to themselves, right? Especially when
Yes.
you're going to be releasing big games, right? And like I think what we're used to in the past is like there'll be a big game and then a bunch of small stuff around it, right? But the problem is that we're getting into the situation where it's like big game, big game, big game, big game, big game, and it's like, okay, well, where's the balance? I mean, every 2 months, I think if you drop 6 big games this year, and then surround it with smaller games, that'll be wild. But we're already up above the
Yeah.
6 number. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a beautiful problem to have, but it also will show you what they feel about next year, right? So like I think a lot of what's going to release this year is going to be dictated about where they think the games they have ready or will have ready for next year are,
Yeah.
right? Because if they see themselves saying, okay, well, we were gonna have this game ready for next year, but this one's gonna, like, games that they haven't even announced yet, or whatever it is, it's not going to be ready for 2026. So we might have to move that to 2027. So maybe let's take like a couple of these games that we were going to drop this year and push it out to 2026 because we don't need it this year, right? And I think that's a phenomenal place to be, right? I think Nintendo famously is one of the people who have a game that's made and they'll just sit on it and just not release it because they want to put it on a certain time, and I think Xbox is kind of getting to a place where they have so many games, like it's just not even a debate. Like they have so many games coming out of first party that they really need to be selective as to when they're going to put what out, right? And as I say that, it's funny because I would have said, if I'm being selective, I'll be like, well, okay, well, you got Avowed, you got Fable. Why would I need Outer Worlds 2? You know what I'm saying? Another massive RPG. And then you brought it up, and they have been, I feel like they've been talking about it, and we still are like still getting through the games that were shown to us many years ago.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's the crazy thing, because if you go back to and well, let me finish this thought, which is Clockwork Revolution, right? Like that might make it. So you're talking the possibility of having like these 4 massive RPGs coming out in the same year, which is crazy. Like stated,
what if they release Oblivion remake from that they took from the ground up and they added Unreal Engine 5
that would also
to it?
be crazy.
I
That
mean,
would also be crazy. Depends on the scope of it. If it's more remastered than remake, then that would be something that's
it's made from the ground up. No
Yeah.
remaster here. This is like a remake, like
Yeah, if it's like a full remake that's like making everything like now, then yeah, that would be crazy. So that's another one, right? But even like State of Decay 3, we're hearing that it was gonna come out in 2025, and they're thinking of pushing that shit back. And it's like, yo, Like there's so much, and if you go back to like back in the day, right? Like every year on these shows, there would be new shows. You know what I'm saying? Like you would get new things that are coming out in the future. And like we've had obviously new games talked about every year, but it's like we've still been riding that initial wave of the games that they showed us back in the day, you know, when the Series X was coming out, right? So we have all like Fable and State of Decay and all those games are from years ago.
Yep.
Those announcements.
And they're finally coming to fruition. Yep.
It's finally coming now, but it's like every year they're starting a new game with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't like they've been making new games every year, even though they're not talking about them. So like if you figure we still literally just getting through those games, we still have games coming out in 2026 that we know about. You know, Perfect Dark, State of Decay if it gets pushed back, right? Which Perfect Dark was another game people were kind of thinking that maybe would have dropped this year as well. It's like Jesus, like it's just it's wild, right? So you know, we already have 2026 games that we know are coming out. We already, you know, believe it or not, we already probably know a 2027 game with Elder Scrolls the new
Elder Scrolls 6.
Right, whatever that new one is, right? So it's like there's so much just from the past that we know. Well now, but see, this is where things get wild because you know you easily forget that once a studio drops their game, it's on to the next game, right? So it's like, you know, even Hellblade came out. Well, guess what? They were working on multiple projects. Right, so whatever they're working on in the next couple of years,
that's we're gonna get some news on. I mean,
oh Jesus,
bro, it's just great. And mind you, all of this awesomeness, and we haven't even came to the fact of the conversation that, and again, this is complete speculation, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, complete speculation. We could see a backwards compatibility announcement at this supposed rumor direct where all of the Activision games are dumped into it. Now, why do I think that? Well, if you guys follow the socials, thanks to Pong Soul, Mav, and Psychonauts, we're all in a DM. They showed a list of all the Transformer games that were only available. They were available, but only through the app. You can download them to your console. Now, I don't know if that is it's something that they're doing to get ready for this potential big drop. But you have all of the Call of Duty games potentially coming. You have Singularity, both prototypes, both Marvel Alliances. They all got they're re-upped on PC. I mean, you could see, because remember how crazy people went with the backwards compatibility announcement. We've all been waiting for all of these games to drop. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm waiting for a HDR plus and a frames boost for Singularity and for Prototype. Yes, and yes, please. Even though they're old games, I'll play through them because Singularity was amazing, and Prototype is exactly what I could possibly use in my life because that was a dope ass game. See, look, this is going to be the year of Xbox. And I know that, again, we could probably spend another 2 hours here just talking about all the excitement that is for Xbox. Look for week 3 in January for this supposed rumored event. And if it is going to happen third weekend, it will probably learn some at the end, getting towards the end of next week, we should hear something. And again, that's not what I'm hearing. It's just my assumption that if it is going to happen in third week of January, we should start hearing something by the middle of next week. We'll see. And of course, we'll be covering it here. But see, Money, this has been a great 90-minute show. Again, 3 big topics. Hopefully everyone, and again, I love the fact that we didn't agree on the first one. Like we 2 separate, paths that we took, and that's awesome. That's great for conversation. But listen, let me just read these couple of super chats. We'll get you out of here, get the chat out of here. You guys and gals could, carry on your Thursday We have Showtime Reezy drops an additional very generous $2. Jen says, "See money. If you had to choose one, mustard or PSSR." That is not a good choice there, fella. I think he loses no matter which he chooses there. So
Yeah, yeah. The thing is that one I just have to look at, the other I have to put, I have to consume, and I think I think I have to go with the pisser on this one, bro. I think the pisser wins out against mustard. That's mustard is the devil.
Good stuff there, Showtime. Appreciate it. JD Gamer drops.
No bueno.
No bueno. JD Gamer drops an additional $5. Super Chan says, "Don't forget, Xbox started 2024 off with Pal World. Then they got Hellblade.
Yep.
Then the faucet opened up. Oh, and by the way, pathetic port begging ponies still got no games. Indeed, they don't."
Facts. Facts. That's why I said first party. Like I know that Power World was starting right off in January. We definitely had games, and then like again, you think about Game Pass. Like I personally look at Game Pass as, you know, for me that's my first party. Like I don't give a crap if I get the game free. That's crazy for me. So we had tons of high quality day and date third party games, bro. Third party games, day and date that we got for free, right? So for me, I had plenty that was for me, and I was eating good.
The backlog continues to get larger and larger, and it's
so crazy.
There's no end because
it's like
this year.
I never finished the finish the game.
Yep. Yeah.
That I'm playing, because then the next one comes like, man, I can't. I gotta go into that one, and it's like a, I don't know. It's wild. That backlog is crazy.
It is pretty ridiculous. Lastly, we have Be Nice drops an additional very generous $5 of Jen, says, "Xbox should put Game Pass on steroids. Put games like Snake Eater, RoboCop, Virtual Fighter, Ultimate, ULT, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, etc., and put a focus on all access program." Listen, stand by, Be Nice, because I'm hearing some crazy things behind the scenes for January regarding Game Pass. And I mean, we already know that 505 Games is dropping the next Sniper Elite. That's confirmed. There's going to be a few more that I think are going to flip your wig. So get ready for that. That information should be coming out shortly. I can't speak on it because I don't have the authorization to do so. And again, I don't want to, talk about the rumors that I heard. I heard that January is going to be pretty ridiculous. But see, money. Let's sell the brand of On Point for gamers. And by the way, tremendous interview with the guy that was a PlayStation gamer that is no longer. I mean, he still likes his PlayStation. Obviously, he shouldn't get rid of it. But he discovered, thanks to his wife, an Xbox. And he played Xbox for the first time. He was proven wrong. He actually said it. I watched all of his videos. That guy has exploded on the scene. Phenomenal interview with you guys, as always. Talk about that. Get people to go watch that, because I think more people need to watch that, because again, it's not done out of console war rhetoric. He's being actually honest, and unfortunately, because of his honesty and the fact that he actually really loved what he was playing, that PlayStation community came for this dude in the worst way possible. And it just goes to show you that most of the PlayStation community is just children. Because I'm not saying everybody, but some of the commentary that guy got was just, oh my God, terrible. Brother, sell the brand. Where can people subscribe to On Point for Gamers, where you and the missus, sit down 4 times a week? You obviously have Hargeet Chani as one of your panel members. Friday is a wild ass show. It is basically a slobber knocker cage match, and it's always fun. Talk about it, brother. And more importantly, where can they follow you both on social media?
Man. Yeah, so first of all, Boom, thank you for having me, man. What a great way to start the new year, 2025.
Indeed,
can't believe it's here. It's insane. But yeah, so obviously, again, love being on the show. So you can find me here Thursdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. You can follow me on Twitter right over here, See Money Forever. My wife's Doodle to be free. We have a YouTube channel called On Point for Gamers. We do have 4 shows a week, but we do other things. And one of the things we have done is we brought back Her, Him, and a Guest just for the special occasion. We were reacting to the video from Eli, and turns out he was watching us live reacting to his video, so we kind of connected, and that's why we ended up doing the Her, Him, and the Guest on there. And then he actually came back the next day and was just on our show proper for Morning Quest, so that was a fun time as well. But he's a good dude, so definitely go check it out. I did put the link in the chat. It's a so you can go ahead and click it and come check us out, man. We have a Sunday morning show, 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's Morning Quest. So it's a fun show, man. So you could definitely check it out. Me and my wife. Tuesday nights we have Night Quest, which is me, my wife, and a guest. We do have the homie Farrell Bazaar is part of that show, and also on a bi-weekly basis because of time, Fuzzy Belvedere is actually part of that show as well.
Nice.
So yeah, good dude. So that's Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday nights tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, is the On Point Gaming podcast with myself and Doodle, where we talk about everything going on in gaming. And it's a fun time. We get slanderous a little bit, but today's probably going to be slanderous. There's some slanderous situations happening that we're going to have to confront here. But yeah, that's our Thursday night show again at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday nights, as Boom said, is the night shift. It's the end of the year. End of the week. I'm thinking end of the year again. It's end of the week, Friday night. We have a great time. It's me, Doodle, our homie, Hargi Shani, and our boy, Demo Flow Gaming. And we just have a good time, man. We just have a good time. We let loose. And yeah, sometimes that means things get real crazy. Just depends on any given moment. But Friday nights are definitely fun. So yeah, come check us out, man. We had a phenomenal 2024. To all of you who are in here, who I see all the time in our show, we appreciate you guys. It's been wild. So definitely looking forward to 2025 and bigger and better things. And of course, let's get Boom to 16K, man. It's right
Appreciate
there.
that very much. Yes, thank you. Again, this is a great show. Great way to kick off the year. Can't wait to see what you guys, you and the missus, do in 2025. You killed it last year, and that's due to all the hard work that you did. And again, listen, we're here for you to entertain you on a daily basis, and we're always going to be thrilled that you come out, you support the channel by your views, you support the channel with your shares, and of course your subs and stuff. We definitely appreciate that. And again,
Absolutely.
a big thank you to all of the super chats that came in. We have some big plans for 2025 in regards to, quote unquote, giving back. We're putting those together right now. We're going to see how the finances are going to go for 2025, but you can expect us to give us back as much as we can, because we really truly enjoy being generous, because you guys and gals were generous with Mrs. Boom and me, and we definitely appreciate it. For C Money, for myself, of course, this is X Vlog Live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be sitting down with the guys. We're gonna have a great breakfast with Boom. I believe that Silent Cypher should be back, so we're gonna have a full panel. We have Silent Cypher joining us. We have Crispy Bomb is gonna be making his appearance. We should have Fuzzy Belvedere returning, as well as Korkenstein. So it's going to be a loaded and packed show with a lot of really big, beefy conversations that you're not gonna want to miss. And of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that I do on a regular basis. And again, hopefully it means something to someone else. But again, this is something that my dad taught us when we were kids, and he would say, "Craig, treat others how you want to be treated." And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.